The old woman's wheelchair teetered inches from the cliff's edge. "Daniel, please," she whispered, tears mixing with the wind. But her son's hands didn't stop pushing. One final shove and silence. He smirked, turning to leave, until a deep growl froze him. The family dog had seen everything. Before we start, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And really, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Daniel had everything a man could dream of. A mansion on the hill, luxury cars that gleamed like mirrors, and a reputation polished to perfection. People called him successful, powerful, untouchable, but behind those expensive suits and fake smiles hid a bitterness that gnawed at his soul. His mother, Evelyn, once the proud matriarch of the family empire, now sat in silence, confined to a wheelchair after a stroke. The doctor said she'd never walk again. To the world, Daniel was the devoted son who took care of her. But deep down he saw her as the one chain holding him back. Every month he watched her sign the checks, control the accounts, and remind him, "All this will be yours someday, Daniel. When I'm gone." Those words echoed in his mind like poison, and slowly love began to rot into greed. Evelyn wasn't alone in that grand, lonely mansion. Beside her always was Max, a loyal German shepherd with sharp eyes and a gentle heart. He'd been with her since before the stroke, her protector, her comfort, her only true friend. Every morning Max would rest his head on Evelyn's lap, sensing her pain before she spoke a word. But when Daniel entered the room, the dog's entire demeanor changed. His ears went stiff. His tail stopped wagging. He'd growl softly, standing between them as if guarding her from something unseen. Daniel hated it. He called Max that mutt, but Evelyn would just smile and say he knows who's good and who's not. Those words stung Daniel more than she realized. Every bark, every growl, every watchful stare from Max felt like silent judgment, and it only fueled the darkness growing inside him. That night, Daniel sat alone in his study, the soft ticking of the clock echoing like a countdown. The mansion was silent, except for Max's distant bark outside, as if warning him not to do what he was about to do. But Daniel had already made up his mind. He had waited long enough. The will was clear. He would inherit everything only after Evelyn's natural death. That single word had become his prison. He couldn't wait for time to take her, not when wealth was just inches out of reach. Then an idea struck. His mother always loved the cliffs by the ocean. She used to visit them with his father before the accident. "It's peaceful there," she'd say. So Daniel decided to take her there one last time. The next morning he entered her room with forced warmth. "Mom," he smiled, "how about a little trip? Just you, me, and the sea breeze?" Evelyn's eyes brightened, her frail hands trembling with hope. She had no idea this wasn't a reunion. It was an execution disguised as love. The sky was painted gold as the sun dipped toward the horizon. The ocean below roared with restless waves crashing against the rocks. Daniel pushed his mother's wheelchair along the narrow trail, his face calm, almost serene. Evelyn smiled weakly, closing her eyes to feel the salty breeze. "It's beautiful," she whispered. He forced a smile. "Just like old times, right?" They reached the edge, the same cliff where she once stood with his father years before tragedy struck. Evelyn's eyes glistened with memories. "He used to say the sea carries our pain away," she murmured. Daniel's hand tightened on the wheelchair handles. His heart pounded, not from love, but from fear and greed wrestling inside him. "Daniel," she said softly, "thank you for bringing me here." He hesitated for one fleeting second, then his eyes went cold. "You've lived long enough, Mother." Her gasp was swallowed by the wind. The chair rolled forward, metal scraping against stone. Then silence. Daniel stepped back, trembling, part relief, part horror. He turned to leave, but froze. A deep, guttural growl rose behind him. Max was there, watching. For a heartbeat, Daniel couldn't move. Max's growl cut through the crashing waves like thunder. The dog's fur bristled, his eyes burning with fury. Then without warning, Max lunged. Daniel stumbled backward, tripping over the gravel as the shepherd charged, teeth flashing. "Get away!" Daniel shouted, grabbing a stick, but Max snapped it in half with a furious bite. His growls echoed off the cliffs, each one sharper than the last. Panicking, Daniel sprinted toward the car, his shoes slipping on loose stones. Max chased, nipping at his coat, ripping a piece clean off. Daniel barely managed to slam the car door shut before Max's paws hit the side, barking violently. Inside the car, Daniel's breath came in short, ragged gasps. His hands trembled on the steering wheel. "Stupid dog," he muttered, speeding away, the echo of Max's barks following him down the road. That night, Daniel burned the wheelchair and washed his car, trying to erase every trace of what he'd done, but the one thing he couldn't erase was Max. The next morning, police officers arrived at the cliffs and found the dog still there, sitting at the edge, staring down, guarding something. When the rescue team arrived, Max refused to move. He barked, whined, and paced near the cliff's edge, as if urging them to look below. One officer leaned over, his flashlight cutting through the mist, and froze. "Someone's down there," he shouted. Within minutes, ropes were lowered, voices echoed, and a stretcher was raised from the depths. The crowd gasped. Evelyn was alive, her clothes were torn, her body bruised, but she was breathing barely. She had landed on a thick tree branch just below the cliff, the only thing keeping her from certain death. And through the night, Max had stayed there, barking until help came. At the hospital, Evelyn's eyes fluttered open. Her first words were faint but clear. "My son, he pushed me." Silence filled the room. The officers exchanged grim looks. Moments later, police cars surrounded Daniel's mansion. He was arrested without resistance, his once calm face pale with disbelief. Max lay beside Evelyn's hospital bed, tail gently thumping. He hadn't just witnessed the truth, he had saved it. Weeks passed. The hospital room was quiet, filled only with the soft beeping of monitors and the rhythmic sound of breathing. Evelyn had grown stronger, her frail hand resting on Max's head as he lay beside her bed. Eyes half closed but ever watchful. Reporters called it the miracle at Cliffside. Headlines read, "Dog saves mother from son's murder plot." The world was shocked, but Evelyn only cared about one thing, the warmth of her loyal companion. "You're my guardian angel," she whispered, tears tracing the wrinkles on her face. Daniel's empire crumbled. His accounts froze. His name vanished from every business board he once ruled. In the end, the wealth he killed for turned to dust. As the sun set outside the window, Max lifted his head, eyes glowing in the golden light. Because sometimes loyalty speaks louder than blood.